Here's a shocking statistic. A child born in India's north may be less likely to reach age 5 than one born in Afghanistan. But in parts of India's south, the same child's chances are better than in the US. That's because the 600-mile-long mountain range that cuts across the country's center isn't just a geographic divide, it's also an economic, religious and political one. Narendra Modi, who's fighting for a third term as India's Prime Minister, is exploiting those divisions for political gain. As I explained in my recent column, Modi has a hypnotic grasp on the landlocked, impoverished north. One of the biggest states there, Uttar Pradesh, is more populated than Brazil, but also poorer than sub-Saharan Africa. North Indians have been denied economic mobility for so long, they have turned to religious anger and hatred and view Modi as a savior for supporting their agenda. But in the south, the prospect of another win for the Prime Minister fills a lot of people with dread, and it's easy to see why. Much of the country's modern, fast-growing economy resides in the south, which is closer to the coast and more tolerant and open. It isn't perfect, but much more than in the north, people here are simply allowed to be, eat, pray and love how they want. When I visited Kerala, a small coastal state in the south recently, the difference was obvious. I met a former UNICEF official who had served on public health campaigns across the country. In Kerala, he told me, women are comfortable contributing facts, figures and demands of accountability to public discourse. That seldom happens in the north. A big part of the contrast comes down to education. When the electorate isn't educated, officials can lie and cover up, like some of the north did with COVID-19 deaths. I also visited a primary health center in Kochi, Kerala. It was impressive, well stocked with medicine and modern diagnostics, running a busy immunization program and even a dentistry department. And it's all free, unlike in the north, where people get pushed towards private providers. When the government abdicates its basic responsibility of health and education, it ruins the poor financially. Unfortunately, the South's voice doesn't really matter. It has a much smaller representation in parliament than the Modi-obsessed North. An Indian like me, who was born and grew up in the North, wants to believe that change is still possible. It's a simple truth that India's 80% Hindu population doesn't need protection from 14% Muslims and 2% Christians. What it needs to be saved from is bad education, poor public health, high unemployment, and crushing poverty.